Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Meet the Expert. I am so excited to be with you today. My name is Dori Soukup. I'm the founder of InSPAration Management, and with me today is Chad Erickson. He is the vice president for My Advice Media. We are going to be discussing a very important topic today, and that is how to get a jump start for your 2022 marketing. As you know, marketing is one of the most important business principles. You could have the most beautiful place, you could have a great team, but if you don't have people walking into the facility, you have nothing. And that's exactly what we're going to focus on today. We're going to discuss lead generation and how to make that the main and most important thing of your marketing. And Chad is going to be sharing his expertise with us, and of course, I'm going to be jumping in and sharing mine as well, so you can get the best of your time by gaining insight from both of us today. So I'd like to start by first welcoming you all to be with us. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but we literally have people from all over the world on this webinar. It's so exciting. We are coming live to you from our studio in Daytona Beach, Florida. The weather is absolutely amazing today. I think it's almost like 70 some degrees. Okay, Chad, I'm gonna rub it in a little bit. He just told me he's gonna get a foot of snow.
I live in
So,
Park City, so we want the snow. I want to go skiing, so bring it on.
yeah, I know. I love snow too, believe me. I do. It's so beautiful to see all that white space. But anyway, that's what we're doing today. So glad that you're joining us. Go ahead and give us thumbs up. If you are with us on social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, welcome. We are actually broadcasting on Zoom and different platforms to make sure we can accommodate everybody that wanted to join us today. So let's start, Chad, by first I want to welcome you to be with us. And
Thank
then
you.
let's start by having you tell a little bit about your expertise and what does My Advice Media actually do to help people like folks in our community.
Wonderful. Dory, thank you for having me here today and to be part of your Meet the Experts team. I love it, and we love working with you and your team as well. So a little bit about my background. I have been in the aesthetic space for about 23 years now. I got started creating a company called plasticsurgery.com and surgery.com, really focused on the aesthetic space, working initially directly with plastic surgeons and helping them with their marketing. And over the years, moved from that into which was really a directory portal type website. Worked with another group called Breast Implants 411, which was really the leader at that time, and then pivoted. Google made a lot of changes to the directory sites, the way that they were represented on the web, and everything started moving towards more of the small individual sites for small businesses. And so made that transition about 2007, 2008, had my own firm, and then I merged with my partner Sean Mealy back in uh, 2014. He had another site as well, but he moved to Park City. We'd known each other for a long time, been colleagues and competitors, and we saw an opportunity to really strengthen each other by working together. And so we did that. And then we have grown substantially. We took Advice Media from a little company and have grown it to have over 120 employees. We have an office in Long Island, New York, as well as Colorado, and our headquarters in Park City, Utah. And so with that, we continue to just expand and to make sure that we're helping aesthetic practices, dental practices throughout the U.S. and globally as well. We've been a big part of the aesthetic community on a global scale. Um, but we really, our focus has been on websites and digital marketing, search engine optimization, reputation management, social media. All those parts are going to help practices grow and get more leads and more patients into their practices. And then a couple of weeks ago, we actually rebranded Advice Media as My Advice, because really, when it comes right down to it, we believe, Dory, that we are here to give these small business owners and their practices freedom. And we do that by taking the burden of marketing off of their shoulders. And if we can do that heavy lift and become
Mm-hmm.
a part of their practice, and give them more time to be with their patients or with their families or with their other hobbies they want to do,
Right.
it's a win-win. And so we really want to make sure that we become an integral part of what you are doing as spa owners. You are really what makes it go. So we applaud you and want to be part of that.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I love the new name, by the way, because I believe that this is taking ownership. My advice media, which is a very nice way to actually make that pivot. So congratulations on that. So let's go ahead and get started. We're just going to have a conversation to really enlighten the whole topic about marketing and what people can do today to really make a difference in their marketing. So we need to start by first defining what is lead generation. A lot of people, sometimes when I say, well, how you generate leads, sometimes they look at me like I have two heads. Like, what is even a lead? Whether you call it a lead, a prospect, a new client, whatever. So let's start there. What can they do to focus more on generating more leads? Or let's, better yet, start by defining a lead and then why it's important to focus on it.
I'm really glad that you started there, Dori, because listen, everyone has to sort of get a mindset change. And so while you are amazing providers in your med spa and you're extremely talented, at the end of the day, you are still a salesperson. And you might be like, no, I'm not. And it's like, well, yes, you really are. And what you have to do is you have to start thinking like a business owner. And when we think about business, I like to think about it in a funnel, right? So what you have to do is you have to have enough things coming to the top of the funnel because not everything's going to come out at the bottom. But that lead flow is people who are going to be interested in what you have to offer. That's probably the easiest way to define what a lead is. They might be a prospect, and listen, their time frame, some of them it's going to be immediate. Others it might be a lengthier process, but that's okay. We want to get them into the top of the funnel, and some are going to move through quickly. Some are going to be like, not now or not ever. Or not today, but many of them will be like, oh, a little bit more. I want to know a little bit more. I want a little bit more. And we love you. You are amazing. I'm going to tell my friends about you. And now I'm coming back in every few months to continue to have you make me even more beautiful and to take care of my needs. So that's what we want to do. And we've got to make sure that our focus is that we can't, it's not a one and done. That funnel has to be continually filled up. And the way you do that is, well, it's a process. It really is.
Yes, for sure. So I like to also always, when people ask me about lead generation, to me, it's like finding the right people that are going to benefit from what you have and having them raise their hand saying, please help me, help me, help me. And that's really what the most important thing about what Chad is talking is once you find these people that are raising their hand, that's the funnel you want to put them in that Chad is mentioning to you. And the more you put into that funnel, the more success you're going to have. One thing, my team here, I drive them crazy, Chad, because we are so about lead generation in my office. I don't even go to sleep at night unless I know exactly how many leads were generated that day.
I love it. I love that you're so passionate about that.
So we teach everybody, all of our members, that, this is a priority. You really need to be on top of that and make sure you are aware of how many leads you really do generate, because that is a good indication on what kind of month you're going to have. Because the more leads, the more opportunities, the more sales that you have. So it does make a big difference.
100%.
So what would you say, in your opinion, the best way to generate leads, Chad?
Wow, that's a loaded question.
I know. We need all day to explain that one.
Sorry, say again?
I said we need all day to discuss that one.
Yeah, we could go on for hours. I believe it starts at a very simple place, and that is do your very best job. If you get a bad reputation, that's going to destroy everything. So be great at what you do. That's where it really has to start. But the lead generation, there are so many different avenues. I mean, Dori, how many different marketing avenues do you talk about in your seminars and in your book?
Oh my gosh. We have in our marketing plan that we sell, we go over 70 different ways to generate leads. And most of them are economical, by the way. economical ways
Yes.
to generate leads. And I'm sure you do the same. There are so many different things. And we don't want to overwhelm everybody. So maybe if you pick a couple and then I can pick a couple, and that way we can give them
You
some
bet.
value.
Absolutely. So, like Dori said, there are so many ways out there. And what we've tried to do with my advice is to break it down into a few very, very simple steps. And we start by still foundational, even after all these years. And it is commoditized, but it starts with your website. Your website is your foundation. You need to have a great website because it is not just a place of first impressions, but it becomes such a significant piece that when people find you on either from a word of mouth referral, or when they hear about you, again, they heard about it from a friend, or if they see you on social media, or they've read about your reputation, or they're doing a search on Google, that they find you, and their first impression is going to be on that website. So the website becomes the foundation. The next part that has become absolutely critical today, sort of the next step, next thing you do, is making sure that your Google My Business, this is your map listing, this is your local listings, that it's all consistent. I'll give you an idea of where this falls apart. One of my colleagues, one of our sales reps, we went to an appointment out in California a few months ago, and we plugged in the address right into Google Maps. It took us to the office, and we pulled up, we got into the lobby, and we were trying to find them, and they weren't there. And we called and said, "Hey, where are you guys? We can't find you." And they said, "Oh, we moved from that office like 6 months ago." So they hadn't bothered to take care of their local listing, their local maps. And then we looked at the reviews, and they had terrible reviews because many people had had the same experience as us. So that local piece is critical. And then the next most important part we have found is your reputation, that online reputation, making sure that you know about good and bad reviews and that you have a system in place to attract more of those reviews. And do it via text and email. People, when they are happy and you've wrapped that warm blanket around them and they love you, they want to tell others about their experience as well. And then social media on top of that, making sure that you've got a solid plan around social media. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of those are important. And then after that, of course, you can get into more advanced search engine optimization and pay-per-click. But those other four elements I mentioned are absolutely critical and foundational to everything else that you do.
Very nice.
What are some of the things that you recommend, Dori?
Oh, well, my favorite thing, and I drive my team crazy also about that, is doing a lot of videos. I mean, I have an entire production
100%.
team here, and we just put out video after video after video. And I have to tell you, Chad, one of our number one lead generation is, like you said, the website, of course, but then YouTube. We get so many leads from our YouTube channel where people call our office, "Oh, we saw Dori on YouTube." And it's funny because even when I go and I speak at conferences, people will say, "Oh, you're the YouTube lady." It's just like, I mean, we have thousands of followers now on our YouTube channel. I don't think anybody else in the industry has thousands of subscribers. So we're very proud of that. And I always encourage everyone to do YouTube videos, because truly, when people search, like you're saying, they go on Google and they search. If you have videos are going to come up because Google is owned by, YouTube is owned by Google. So it's a search engine, same thing. And it's a wonderful way to gain leads, I have to tell you. And they're all good qualified leads because they were searching for that. And then the other thing I really like is kind of like what I'm doing with Chad today, is business to business relations. This is the most economical way for you to generate leads. And when you partner up with businesses that complement your business and that are targeting the same audience, it's so beautiful. Because, I mean, think about it. Chad offers marketing plans for members of our community, members in the medical aesthetic community. We offer consulting for the medical aesthetic community or the day spa community as well. And all his clients and my clients will be great complement to one another. And that is just such a fabulous way. And when you drive both your clients, your database, to each other's website, that's why your website is so important, then they're going to learn more, hopefully you're attracting them, you're impressing them, and that's how you generate leads. And what did this cost? Hardly anything.
Hardly anything.
So
Yep, exactly.
It's very nice.
And I love you mentioned video. I mean, everyone's got a great video camera in their pocket. You can go out and certainly I recommend getting some good lighting, having a good place that can be consistent for that. But we've got great technology, and so if you're worried about it, just start. Don't hesitate and wait to have all the perfect things in place. Just start getting videos. It's so simple, and it's easy to upload to YouTube right off of your phone or your iPad or even your computer. So use it, do it.
And it's free. That's the best part, right? So let's go back to the websites a little bit, because I was just speaking at the global conference down in Fort Lauderdale. And I like to go in and see what other speakers are talking about. And one of the speakers was posing a question. Is it important to still have a website today? Because a lot of people are into their Facebook and Instagram, which is all fine and dandy. You need to have all that. But is it really? I mean, I know the answer, but what's your opinion about some people not having a website? I just think it's crazy, but what are your thoughts?
So, one of the core values we have at My Advice is what we call intellectual honesty. And it's the way that we get away from anecdotal stories. Intellectual honesty is about backing things up with data. And as we look at the data of more than 2,000 clients that we have, I can tell you emphatically that the data shows how critical the website is. And the usage case, when you look at the organic growth coming in off of the way that the website appears online, if it's done properly, continues to grow month over month and is still the most powerful lead generator. And then a huge part of that, though, is that after they've gone and looked at social media, after they've looked at your reviews online, because we can see the track, right? Where did the lead come from, or where did that visitor come from? They're coming from those sources, and that's when they're filling out the forms. That's when they're making the phone calls. That's when they're doing the chat fills. So the website is absolutely relevant, and we have the data that backs that up, that shows that your website is still a critical part of what you do. And so if you think about it from that sense, my invitation to you would be, go look at your website today, and does it convey the message you want it to, both on a desktop as well as on a mobile device, right? An iPad, a phone. Look at it and think about it from the consumer perspective, because it is so critical that you have a website. I get that sometimes we get to these conferences, they love to throw out little bits that might be sensationalism, a little bit sexy. Somebody's like, oh, something's changing, I better go there. At the end of the day, the website is still absolutely foundational for your practice and what you're doing.
Yeah, I look at it this way. If it's the body, the website is the heart, because you just cannot have a business. And if you're doing smart marketing, you would have every other marketing mix drive traffic to your website so you can convert at a higher rate. And that's why it's so important to really have a good functioning website that helps you generate leads. But you know what, Chad, the other thing I really want to get across to all the people with us today, you were mentioning forms. A lot of people don't even have like a way to opt in or fill out a form, or if they do, it's usually very vague and not very good. So, we're again big on lead generation, as you are, and we're always encouraging people to definitely have many different ways to generate leads from the website, from social media and all that. And I just think everyone with us today, if you don't have web forms that are feeding your constant contact or whatever platform you're using for your email, then you really need to have that. It's very, very important to do that.
I'm glad you brought that part about constant contact or MailChimp or a service similar to that. Emails are still critical, and so if you can get an email address that's a valid email that allows you to follow up again, think about that lead coming to the top of the funnel. And if they may not be purchasing today, but as you continue to email them and make sure that you have maintained what we call a top of mind awareness, so they know again who you are, what you offer, how you can help them, that over time they're going to select you
Yeah.
if you're doing a great job and you stay in contact with them.
Yeah.
Getting that lead into the top of the first place is difficult, and it's expensive. But once you've done that, you want to make sure you've got the right systems in place to capture them and follow up with them.
Yeah.
So yes, have the forms, have the chat service, and capture that information. And don't get discouraged if they don't come in right away. It's a process, and see it for what it is.
Well, actually, you help with the lead generation by building websites and things like that. But I think it's very important to mention here that once a lead comes in, if it's not nurtured and the guest relations team is not following up and inviting them to come in and begin to build the relationship, then yes, it may delay the process of the conversion from lead to actual client. And that is one thing, Chad, we really focus on team training to teach them how to handle those leads once they come in. Because if you don't handle them, they're just going to get cold and you're not going to convert. And you just wasted your money, and that's not a good thing. But you had mentioned... Yeah, go ahead.
Can I tell you a little story about that?
Yes.
That was really interesting. Last year, we had one of our plastic surgeons who wanted to expand on one of his procedures, was facelifts. He's an amazing surgeon on facelifts. I'm not going to tell you his name, but he wanted to run a pay-per-click campaign. We said, let's do it. So we put it together, we did the analysis, and his spend was right around $3,000 a month. And after month 2, his staff was kind of complaining to him a little bit and said, this isn't working. You spent $6,000 on this. And he's like, oh, really? And we had been in contact with them and sent them over reports, and they were kind of ignoring it. Fact was, they weren't well trained, and they didn't want to handle it. And he came to me and said, hey, what's going on here? I'm spending a lot of money. We're not getting any results. I said, what do you mean? Are you not seeing the reports and everything we're sending over to your team? He said, what do you mean? I said, we have sent you 250 leads over the past 2 months.
Yeah.
I said, even if you want to give a haircut to some of those, because pay-per-click, some of them aren't valid all the time. It's okay. I said, that still gives you 125 leads. And when I started to print out the various leads that were coming through, it was people saying, I'm interested in coming in for a facelift consultation. And then I shared the phone call logs with him as well, because we tracked every single phone call. And he listened to about 10 of them, and he was embarrassed. He said, Chad, I apologize. We have a problem with my staff. They obviously don't know how to follow up on leads. Fact was, they weren't following up. They were so busy doing their other stuff, they didn't realize how valuable these were. And mind you, he charges $20,000 for a facelift, and he had at least 70 people that wanted to come in and meet with him for a consultation.
Isn't that crazy?
The amount of money that was lost. And I said, you know what, we're going to turn this off. You've got an internal issue you need to fix. When that's done, we can turn this back on. But until then, there's no reason for you to pay us. He's like, I'm so sorry. But
next
again,
time,
I'm so
Chad,
glad
you
you
need
mentioned
to
that,
say,
Dori,
go
because
see Dori's team.
you have to have good systems in place. You have to have somebody like Dori that's going to train you and help your staff know how critical every email, every phone call, every chat lead is that comes into your practice. And they have got to be followed up with in a timely fashion. You've got to have systems around that, because it's not just a one-time transaction. It's the lifetime value of what is that particular patient worth to you. And a med spa patient is typically worth over $50,000 over their lifetime. So if you can get one of those to convert, that's what they're worth to you in a lifetime value. So again, golden. Every lead should be treated as gold.
Yeah, absolutely. And we spend a lot of time actually teaching that process, because marketing is one thing, and then the sales within the facilities, it's all about the conversion. And that's really how you become so successful. Is if a company like Chad is doing their job to generate leads, then a company like ours is teaching you how to convert them into sales. And when you combine the two, you are golden. I think it's very good.
Absolutely.
You had touched a little bit about differentiation when we were talking about websites. And to me, because anybody can build a website, right? It's not rocket science. But building it in a way that's going to be useful and helpful and work for them 24/7 has to include some differentiation. And them, all of you watching with us today, being with us today, it's very important when you go back and look at your website, like Chad was saying, go assess it and see how it is. You need to be asking yourself, am I differentiating myself and my team from the competition? And if you're not, you really should. And how you do it is through some case studies, your reviews, some videos here and there, getting away from stock images and actually send a company like Chad or ours pictures that you can actually use within your website or email blasts or on social media. You need to get away from being like everybody else. And I want you to look at those things with new eyes and see how you can actually benefit from that. Do you have a problem people sending you real pictures when you're building a website, Chad? Because we do. I know we always are harping on our clients. Go do a photo shoot. And they're like, ugh. What are your thoughts on stock images versus real images?
Yeah, it's tough. Because those of you who are listening, we know that you have so many things on your plate, and it is a challenge. I actually agree with Dori 100%. If you can get your own photos and do your own photo shoot, it just is so much better. And even your own videographer to come in and do some of those pieces, they're going to be real assets in differentiating who you are. They're really, really important. And when you can start showcasing your real patients, your real clientele, it makes a huge difference. If you can't, or you're limited in time initially, then we can start with some stock photography. And we've got ways of making sure that it's unique. It's not the same images you see on every other website. But in what I would refer to as a good, better, best scenario, those are good and they can look nice. But if we want the best, that's going to come from really a collaboration and getting that photo shoot done that really makes you look unique. Along those lines of differentiating, there's I had a prospect I was talking to. I was at a facial plastic show, and we got talking about his expertise and who he was and what he did. And he said, Chad, I know the numbers. I talked to my local rep, that brings me all my fillers, and he said, I do more than anybody else in town. I'm the best. And I didn't mind that he was telling me he was the best. In fact, I'd rather go to somebody that says I'm the best than somebody that says I'm okay, right? I said, well, what are you looking to do? He said, I've got a lot of time on my schedule still. And I said, well, tell me about what's going on. And he said, he told me about some of the marketing things he was doing. I said, great. I said, well, can we take a look at your website? And he said, yeah, let's take a look at it. And I pulled it up. And within a few seconds, I looked back at him and I said, Doc, you just got done telling me you're the best. You get the best results. You do better than anybody else. I said, I've been on your website less than 5 seconds, and your website just told me that you're mediocre. I said, it's so old and outdated. And at first he was kind of offended. I'm like, I had to kind of break the silence. I said, are you using rusty needles? And he kind of go, okay, you made your point, and I was trying to lighten the mood. But the point was, who he was and the work that he accomplished was not reflected in the persona online. It wasn't reflected on his website. It wasn't reflected in his social media. He had become complacent on the image that was being portrayed about him online. And he had younger practices, nurse practitioners, med spas that were actually starting to eat into his revenue because he had forgotten to differentiate. He'd forgotten to showcase why he was so good at what he did. And so you've got a great opportunity for a lot of those who have become lazy to go in and steal their clients and be better, and then continue to be hungry yourself.
Yeah, very good. Well, my favorite way of differentiating is having a book and being an author. That's what I mean, my books have really helped us generate a lot of leads and differentiate from other consulting firms. And I really want to encourage everybody to start writing, developing content, giving the tip of the week, do some fun things on social media with quotes or case studies or things like that. I think, to me, I think social media, and I know you help people with social media, Chad. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that, because a lot of people sometimes end up putting all their eggs in one basket. And as you know, you really need to do many different things to gain the results that you want. But everybody of course, wants to be better at social media. So what are some of the tips you want to share with everybody about how they can benefit and generate leads and get a good return on the investment from social media?
Absolutely, but maybe before I do that, Dori, you talk about differentiating, and the content is a critical element of that, and that's actually, in addition to the images, getting great content,
Yeah.
written content from our clients is a challenge. Um, but you offer a writing seminar. Maybe tell the audience about that before we
Yes.
that, because that is something that's so important that I want to help stress. But
Actually,
sometimes
it's
they
like,
don't know where to start.
yeah, it's my
How
favorite.
how do you help them with that?
Yeah, thank you. It's my favorite seminar actually that we do. It's called Write Your Book in One Weekend. And we have helped so many medical professionals actually become published authors. And we then show them how to use the book to generate leads and market their business. And if you are a member on here with us today, you get to come to that event free, totally free. It's part of your membership. If you are not a member, then you can become a member or you can buy it a la carte. But it is such a fun event, and literally we can come up with all the content in one weekend. We have a very special process that we go through, and it's amazing. So if you want to differentiate with a book, give my team a call or go to becomepublished.com and you'll be able to learn about it a little bit more. So yeah, thank
Awesome.
you. Hope to see you there.
And yeah, for any of the my advice clients that are on here today, um, all of you need help with writing. I hope that you will join that as well. So very good. So on the social media has become absolutely critical in today's world, and it has continued to evolve. And it's amazing how it is just continues to explode in different ways. Um, One of the things that we do for our clients, because we recognize that you have a lot going on in your own practices and you're getting started, is that we post for our clients 4 times a week on Facebook and Instagram. And we also offer some software that allows our clients to schedule posts. And so we want them to add more. We want them to add their own persona, be authentic, and put that out on Instagram, on Facebook. And then we have a lot of our practices as well who've really adopted Snapchat, and in particular TikTok right now has become a great way to showcase what you're doing. And included with that would be the reels that you see on Instagram, and they're fun, and it's amazing how quickly those can go viral. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to do the dances if you're that's not your comfort level. You can do little interviews. You can do little 90-second segments that talk about one thing you offer. It could be something that you just learned, maybe at a seminar you attended. The point is, use it and be consistent with it, because it impacts not only your online rankings, but it also is part of your brand. It's the way that you are viewed online today. And so you want to make sure you have a very, very good strategy with that. At the beginning of the month or the quarter, you might even just think about, let's think about the holidays. Is it someone's work anniversary? How about birthdays? Is somebody getting married from our practice? Maybe we do a client or patient spotlight during the month. We pick a patient of the month. There's a million things you can do, and we're happy to help you and guide you along that path. But you have to make sure that you're doing it. And if it's a heavy lift for you right now, let somebody like us help you. We're happy to do that.
Now, are you also a fan of actually doing campaigns on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, maybe? Like paid ads?
It's a loaded question, and I'll tell you why. It's becoming yes and no. It really depends. So it depends on what you're trying to promote, because there are a lot of restrictions around some of the healthcare initiatives. So, for example, Botox has a ton of limitations. So if you're trying to promote Botox, you're often going to get shut down right off the bat because you can't promote it. And then Facebook ads used to be very, very inexpensive. They've become very, very expensive, and the return on those we've seen with our clients recently has been declining. We're seeing a little bit better results on TikTok and Instagram than Facebook, but in shorter, you can have success, and you have to be creative on how you're doing it. But it's something that you can do. You can test. I recommend allocating, a few $100s. And having a process and a hypothesis, saying, hey, let's try this for the month. It's easy to run on your own. It's easy to really target special groups in not only demographics of their location, certain ages, sexes, whatever you want to do, you can target and really try it. Um, but
Yes.
I'm sort of mixed on it. I'm not, unless you can spend a lot of money on it, be really
Yeah.
consistent. I'm not seeing as good a result off Facebook like I used to on the paid ads.
Well, they definitely have changed and they are much stricter because I get the emails and we get the phone calls. They shut down my account. I don't know why. They
Yep.
even shut down our Instagram account not too long ago. Jason is here, our social media expert.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, for what was it, bad content or something, restricted like
Yeah.
we've been in business for 20 years. We're a professional company. You're shutting down
I
our
know.
Instagram. Are you out of your mind? So
And
yeah,
then
they're
once it
very
happens, it's
sensitive.
virtually impossible to get hold of somebody that can actually help you. So
Yeah,
it's a very frustrating
it
process at
is.
times. So I again, I've seen results with it, but it seems like Facebook and Instagram in particular, being the same company, are
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out who they are right now,
Yeah.
and have become more restrictive and more expensive. So
Yes.
I,
Sounds
I'm
good.
still seeing great results with Google AdWords, and
Mm-hmm.
again, results are just being more natural on those platforms, including, like I
Yeah.
said, TikTok.
Well, if you are with us live on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, please comment, ask questions, give us some hearts, likes. We definitely appreciate it. And again, thank you so much for joining us. And today we're talking about marketing, lead generation, and how to kickstart your marketing for this coming year. So we've already covered how to generate leads economically, how important it is to have a good website, how to differentiate, how to compete through the website and other platforms, the importance of being consistent and not do something one time and then not do it again. So those are some of the tips that we already shared. So let's go a little bit about talking about the return on the investment now, Chad, because a lot of
You bet.
people are willing to actually invest in marketing, but they don't know first how much to invest and how do I track the return on my investment.
So return on investment is so critical. Tracking that ROI and knowing where you're coming out. It's it's your key performance indicator. If you're going to spend the money on the marketing, you need to know what it's going to generate for you. And here's a few numbers I want you to keep in mind. Typically, a good ratio to look at for a positive return on investment is going to be anything more than a 3-to-1 ROI. So what I mean by that is, let's say that you spent $1,000 on your marketing, you need to have at least $3,000 of new revenue coming in to make that a break-even scenario. And the reason for that is that you have a lot of overhead. It can't just be a one-on-one. So if you have somebody that comes in and says, "Hey, it's you know, you spent $1, you made $1, and it's a break-even," it's not true. You have a lot of other additional overhead pieces. You have salary, you have taxes, you have building, you've got supplies. All those pieces have to be taken into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
So again, 3-to-1 would be a typical break-even scenario. So more than that is going to be the ratio to look at when you're considering if it's working or not. The part I mentioned earlier as well is your what we call your customer lifetime value. You want to think about what you're doing, not transactionally, not of, hey, I just got this new individual that came in. We just did $1,200 worth of injectables and toxins, and they look great. And so the lead was worth $1,200. No, no, no. That individual is going to be back in 6 months or less. And we're going to get them on a skincare regimen. And we have energy devices that they're going to start using. And we might get them into threads, and they're going to refer friends over. But them alone, over the course of their lifetime, are going to be worth $45,000 to $50,000 to you. So again, you want to take great care of them, not only getting them the first time, but having them come back and be a repeat customer. So when you think about your return on investment, don't think about it transactionally.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it from what that's going to make you over the lifetime and that lifetime value of that customer. So you want to be able to evaluate that, but you need to have the systems in place. And this is part of what Dori and her team teach as well, is that you've got to have the right system so that as you track the leads through, you can verify patient A came in, they scheduled, this is what they had, this was the dollar value, and then you can look at that over time and how that works. And then go back and look at, well, we spent X amount on marketing or this much on our energy laser device, whatever it was, so that you can measure ROI on each of those individual elements. But it's so critical that you know where your marketing dollars are going and what's happening. And listen, there's a lot of companies. We're in a very competitive market. I've been doing this for over 20 years. And there's some very good companies, and there's some that are charlatans as well. And so do your homework, look at their reviews, talk to others about them and what they're doing. Ask them about the reporting that they're going to provide for you. And as you're getting started, if you've been with the company and you're frustrated, ask them those questions. Why am I not seeing this? What does that mean? What does the lead gen look like? Are we making improvements? And you want to see that improving over time and be able to monitor that and measure it and measure the results.
Very, very good information there. So what is the rule of thumb? I know what I usually tell clients, but what is your opinion on how much should a person invest in marketing?
There's a lot of different numbers out there. The Small Business Association recommends, and this is a number that's a fairly conservative number, about 7% of your annual revenues go towards marketing. When you're a new practice, I believe it's actually higher than that. You've really got to make a splash, and typically 12 to 15% of your revenue, your annual revenue, should be going towards your marketing efforts initially. That's what I've seen. Over time, as you build up that reputation, you can sometimes back that off a little bit. But if you're starting out, first couple of years, you're going to have a little bit of a heavier spend. Just as you're getting started, it's a cost of doing business. But again, it's one of those things that's going to generate more for you in the long run. But if you've only got a certain amount of budget, that's all you have. But again, those are some of my numbers. Dori, what have you seen? What do you typically recommend?
My rule of thumb is about 10%. So we're on the same page there. And I think it's very important to have a budget, which a lot of people don't even have a budget. When you say the word budget, everybody thinks, oh, you're going to restrict how much money I can spend. Well, we look at budgeting as more forecasting first. How much revenue do we need to generate? And then aligning all your expenses below it. But having a budget for marketing is so important. You have to be able to invest in it. And my advice would be, if you're members, you have access to the marketing plan. My advice would be to go in and see all these different marketing mix, decide what marketing channels or mix you want to use to market your business, and then assign a dollar amount to each one. That way you can stay on track, not overspend, not underspend. And when you hire a marketing company, you can take that into effect. So now you have clarity on how much money you really want to invest and what is that return again on the investment. Like he was talking 3 to 1 at least. So what can we do to maximize the return on that investment? So that's usually what we help people achieve. And I'm sure you do the same. But I think that's very, very important. Let's talk a little bit about marketing plans with a marketing company, because, again, that's not something that we do. Our focus is more on business consulting. So if I was to come to you, Chad, and let's say you want to build me a website, do my social media, let's start with those two first before we get into advertising dollars. What would be my commitment if I was to do just that, let's say?
So if we were just to do that, we're going to be right around $600 a month to get a brand new, really custom website, have the social media where we're posting for our clients 4 times a week, and gives them access to our software tool that allows them to go in and add their own posts, schedule those out as well. So it's a very reasonable amount to get started with something like that.
For sure.
If you want to add in the local, SEO and add in your reputation management software as well, which is all in one place. It's easy to manage in one spot. It's $777. That's very simple.
Yeah, it is. Let's talk a little bit about reputation management, because that comes up actually quite a bit when we're
Yeah.
talking to our clients, and they all freak out when if they ever have a bad review. It's like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. So what
Yeah.
are some of the techniques that you guys actually use to help with reputation management?
So this is absolutely critical in today's world. The first and foremost thing you need to do is have some software that's going to notify you of any good or bad review. The last thing you want to have happen is some review gets left out there that you don't even know about. When it comes to a bad review, if what I first recommend, very first, is put your ego out the window. I recognize that what they're saying is hurts. It's often not true, or it's been misconstrued, represented. Um, Listen, there's plenty of crazy people out there as well. And sometimes you might have even brought someone into your practice that you knew was crazy, and you still went ahead with it. I would caution you that if your spidey sense goes off and you know that they're crazy, you don't have to treat that person. There are some of those individuals out there who are absolutely going to be trouble for you forever. You can politely decline them. So just be aware of those situations. And there's probably some people right now that are like, yeah, I did that. But take your ego out of it, and if possible, call them up if you know who it is, and just say, hey, I saw you left a review. Tell me about that. Tell me a little bit more. What's going on? What can we do to help you with that? In most cases, I've seen that there's been able to be a reconciliation of some kind. And the best scenario is that they go and take it down, because there is not a magic bullet that exists that can go on and do it for you. When it gets posted to Google, Facebook, Yelp, or some of the other ones that are out there, those three being the main ones, third-party companies cannot go remove that. It has to be removed by the individual. So again, if you can do that by just having a phone call and reconciling, great. If not, or it's anonymous, then I recommend you on and leave a rebuttal. You do need to be aware of HIPAA and some of the HIPAA laws around that. Just be very careful, but at least show other people that as they come on, thank you for leaving that review. Sorry that your experience wasn't great. We would love to hear from you. Please give us a call. If we had your name, you left anonymous, we'd love to be able to help you in any way we can. Very unusual, et cetera, et cetera. And by doing that, what you're showing people in the future is that you pay attention, you care, it seems out of the ordinary. And then when they're looking at all your other reviews and you've got great reviews and maybe one off, it's no big deal. In fact, think about your own experiences. I'm doing a lot of shopping for the holidays right now, for Christmas. And I look at the reviews, and I look at the 1 stars, I look at the 5 stars. I'm looking at how long ago was it. And I'm also, I can tell very easily if that person was crazy. We all recognize crazy when we read it. So if you get a bad review, don't see it as the end of the world. Now, one of the great things about having a software platform like the one that we offer with My Advice is it's a very simple way for any member of your staff on their phone or their computer to, on the spot, quickly send out a request via text or email to the patient that came in and ask them to leave a new review for you that day. And by having a system in place that does that, it's a very easy way to garner those new reviews. And then when those reviews are left within the system as well, it's easy to just be there on the same platform and respond to them in one location. And it's amazing when you've got a good system in place, how many new positive reviews you can get that are going to suppress any bad ones you get along the way.
Yeah. Well,
so a very long-winded way, but you've got to have a system in place to take care of those.
Yeah, I love the fact that everything is in one place and you can just go and manage them right on the spot. We're very big and we're always teaching people to promote reviews and doing video testimonials and this and that. I want to go back to the crazy people you were mentioning, and I love you calling them crazy because some of them are crazy.
They're nuts.
And through the consultation process, we teach certain questions that they have to ask to see if they were crazy with another med spa down the street. Like, have you ever experienced Botox? What was your experience like? Have you had filler? What did you think about the person that did your filler last time? And they'll start telling you. And oh, I didn't like her, she did this and that, and oh, I asked for my money back. And that's
Yep.
when when you stop and say, maybe politely, like
Yeah.
you just said, you need to go somewhere else.
And Dori, let me ask you a question that I've been curious about is how do you help spas recognize body dysmorphia today as well? Because that's becoming more and more of an issue.
What was it? I'm sorry.
How do you help the med spas and the providers recognize individuals who have body dysmorphia along those same lines, right? Where
it,
they're
it
never going to be happy.
Yeah, we have a very intensive intake form, and we also have a whole fact finding even before we meet with them. They need to go do some research online that we like to know a little bit more about the client before they even come. So here's the process we teach. Let's say the lead comes in, we invite them for a consultation, they agree to come in for a consultation, then the team is instructed to go online and find out everything that you can about this person, whether it's on LinkedIn, on social media. So we do a fact-finding form. So the person that's doing the consultation is already aware of what kind of person they are, and that will give you such clarity on where to take the conversation and how to truly do a proper consultation. We teach that in the Success with Guest Consultation modules, and we go through the entire process. We even have like scripts and certain questions and the intake forms and everything really in preparation for that guest, that client should all be done ahead of time. And when you're prepared, you know exactly how to handle things.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you do that. It's something that's so needed. So again,
Yeah.
as much prevention as we can put out there in the first place by
Mm-hmm.
doing great work, avoiding the crazy people,
Mm-hmm.
it's just going to help your success so that you don't have to be mired down,
Mm-hmm.
and your staff doesn't have to be mired in their time
Yeah.
of taking care of these issues that might pop up later.
Yeah.
So
And you should be
again,
able
you
to
can't
let
prevent
go.
every single one, but if you can prevent most of them,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
big boon for you.
And we just fired the client actually, and everybody should be able to fire clients if they don't appreciate you, or you're not mixing well together or whatever. It's not worth it. The money is not worth it.
Right.
You At the end of the day, you want to be able to sleep at night. So if somebody comes to you and you know they're that kind of person, then I think you should cut your losses and not worry about the $500 or whatever you're going to lose. In our
Right.
case, it was thousands of dollars, but I didn't care. It's like, you need to go
We've
somewhere
done the same
else.
thing. Yeah, we've
So,
100% done the same thing. So
yeah.
I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, you want to be happy coming to work. You want to do
Yes.
Yeah, you want to do good by others and enjoy your life, and it's not worth it being frustrated or angry or have somebody go say something bad about you. It's just not worth it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
want to be able to sleep well at night and just be happy. So yes, you don't
Absolutely.
need those people in your life.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things about having the reviews, the reputation management, all these things, I think is very, very important. And by doing those things and having those positive comments, that's going to help you with your referral program in a major way. And
Tons.
and it becomes like a snowball effect, right? Because if you
Totally
don't
does.
have reviews, if you're not managing your reputation, that's going to end up hurting you a lot. So I'm so glad you have that platform that allows them to do that. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, well, us too. It's made a huge difference for so many practices.
Yeah. All right. So, what would be one big mistake? We need to wrap things up here a little bit. What would be
Yeah.
one mistake that people make usually regarding marketing that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this?
So this is the easiest answer I can give you today. When it comes to doing your marketing, one, don't try to do your website on your own, and don't try to hire your cousin, your brother, whoever to do a website. Pick somebody that knows the aesthetic industry. The patient mentality is so different here. So just because someone has done a website in the past, and just because you have solutions that might seem cost effective, like Wix or Squarespace, all great places. I'm not discounting that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not where your time should be spent.
Right.
because in the long run, those are not going to give you the results you need. They're going to fall short on the patient acquisition front. So
Mm-hmm.
select a company that knows the space, knows how to get the right clients. Again, we've got to think about the leads, the right
Mm-hmm.
kind of leads that are going to be profitable for you and are going to continually fill the top of that funnel.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to spend your time doing that. So pick a company that can do that for you. So the biggest mistake I've seen over and over again is people are like, I'm trying to save a buck,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going down this do it yourself,
Mm-hmm.
do a trade with somebody,
Yeah.
and it turns into a disaster
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
I've never, ever,
Yeah.
ever in 22 years seen a good spot where I'm like, oh
Mm-hmm.
wow, yeah, your cousin, wow, they did a great job. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Or your patient did an amazing job.
Mm-hmm.
Never, not once.
Yeah.
So that's the one to avoid
No,
like
it's
the
true.
plague.
It's true. Actually, I was just doing we have a member that is just opening up, and he purchased a proposal from us and is also a member. And we were talking about his branding, positioning, marketing, all that stuff. And I'm like, "Where's your website? You're due to open, you know, here in a couple of months. Where is it? It should already be up and going and having Google index it and all that good stuff." And he's like, "Oh, I'm doing it." I'm like, "You're a doctor. What the?
Right.
Why? Why
You,
are you
you don't have
building
time
your
for that. It's
own?"
not your expertise. It's yeah.
It's like, stay in
We're on
your
the same
lane.
page, Dori. It's just like one of those. Stop, please. Yeah. So,
You're a
totally
doctor.
get it.
What are you doing building a website? I almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, what the, like, why? Why are you doing that? And he's doing his own business plan and the website and doing the build out and ordering floors. And Sarah's here. She knows exactly who I'm talking about. But why? Why? How many hats
Right.
do you want to wear? Stop it.
Right. Yes.
All right. Well, we have a lot of members from our community here with us, Chad. And I know I've asked you before to do something special for all of them in case they want to participate in some of your
Yes.
marketing programs. So what can you offer our community as well as maybe members of your community?
Absolutely. So, and thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for everyone who's attended today. I wish I could be there in person with you. Zoom has become the norm, but I miss being at a lot of the big conferences and seeing everybody and being able to give hugs to everybody. I'm kind of a hugger. But as far as the offer goes, what we have put together is we want to offer anyone who's here today an opportunity to have a free website marketing and evaluation. It's a 360-degree full look at everything you're doing. No cost involved. We will tell you the good, the bad, the ugly. If you're doing some things great, we're going to tell you that and put together a very comprehensive report for you. Secondly, is if you sign up with my advice for any of your marketing services, like your website and your social media and your local SEO, as well as your reputation management or any advanced SEO or PPC, we're going to give you 1 month for free. So you can sign for the month of December, anytime between now and December 31st, and you will not pay anything for 1 month. So it'll just, until January. So
Nice.
you're going to save a lot of money by doing that. It's our gift to you, and we thank you and applaud you for what you're doing. You're an entrepreneur. You're
Yeah.
a small business owner. You've got a great thing going, and we want to help you be successful.
Yeah. So where should they go to sign up for the assessment?
Absolutely. Send an email directly to sales, S-A-L-E-S, sales at myadvice.com. Again, sales at myadvice.com. And that's the easiest way. Just send a quick email,
Okay.
and we'll have a member of our staff put together that report and be in contact with you right away.
No, very nice. Well, that's wonderful. And those of you who are with us, if you are not a member of InSPAration Management, then I want to invite you to reserve a success planning session. So it's basically the same as what Chad would do for assessing your website. What we'll do is assess your business, and we'll find out what you're doing good, what you need help with, what your challenges are, and then we'll give you recommendations on how to reach success the fastest way possible. So between the two companies here, we could truly help you start 2022
Absolutely.
on definitely the right track. So let's do it, shall we?
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Yeah. So it's very exciting. Do we have some questions? We have few minutes here, Chad. Maybe we can take a couple
Great.
questions.
We do. Dory, we have a guest with us and they want to know, how do you recommend getting reviews and can we offer them an incentive?
Okay. So actually, you don't have to offer an incentive for reviews. You can just ask, and God tells us, ask and you shall receive. But I'm going to share a couple, and then maybe Chad can.
Yeah.
A lot of times when people check out, we don't take the time to actually verbally ask or remind them that they're going to get a text or remind them that they're going to get an email to leave a review. So your guest relations team and your entire team, first of all, need to ask and promote getting reviews. So that's one. As a matter of fact, part of what we teach, that should be part of your key performance indicators as to how many reviews your team can actually get in a month, and then you can bonus them on it. But one of the most effective ways really is just text messaging and having that automated text right away come onto their phone as they're checking out, and then the guest relations team saying, you probably just received the text, would you be so kind to leave us a review? And you're like, instantly you're taking advantage, you're seizing the moment. And that's what we want to do, because once they leave, they're not in that excitement, they're up here when they're with you, and as they leave you, that ether is going to go down. So we want to definitely get them while they're there. And then if you want to just send an email or something like that. So that's what we teach. How about you? A couple of things here, Chad.
So yes, along the same lines, we use gamification. So within the software, it allows you to have, excuse me, members of your staff set up, and so each of them can be doing the requesting, and you'll get reports on how each member did.
Nice.
Not only the request, but on how many came in. So again, from the ability to reward members of your staff, which 100% aligned with you, Dori, on that, it works out great. We found 2 times work. So most effective is on the spot, right? Exactly like what Dori said. Text them immediately. They're hot. They love it. One other thing we've seen that has worked for practices is they do batch texting through our software. And they've found that around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's sort of that lull during the day. You're kind of getting a little bit tired at work. You're starting to check social media.
Yeah.
And the text comes through, and any time between 4 and 5 p.m. Has also been an effective time. But outside of that, it gets too late in the evening. They're too busy with other things. And they forget. They have the best of intentions. So if it's not immediately, that 4 to 5 block is working well. We've got some case studies on our website about that as well.
Nice.
But it's that consistency. If they miss it, it's gone. But
Very
make it
nice.
happen, and it's great what will happen because of that.
That's very nice. I'm going to borrow that 4 to 5 and start teaching it if it's okay with you.
Yeah, please.
Yes. Another question?
Yes. How do you feel about Groupon for a new business that's starting to build a patient database?
Don't.
You want to take this one first, Dori?
Yeah, I am not a fan of Groupons. There are so many other ways, because what you're doing is you're attracting the people that are hoppers. They're going to come and take that deal, and then as soon as they see another deal, they're gone. So they are not loyal clients, and you're not going to profit. You're going to be in the hole, and you're just ruining your reputation. You're positioning yourself as being cheap and desperate when you do Groupon. That's my opinion anyway. Now, are there certain...
100%.
Huh? Enough said?
Oh,
100%.
Enough said, and I agree with you 100%. Yes.
Yeah. So we teach in one of our seminars, the Millionaire Circle, we teach you how to attract the affluent people. So you don't have to ever do Groupon. And you really want to be, to me, I would rather be the most expensive to get people, because the more expensive you are, actually the busier you're going to get. A lot of people fight me on that, but it is the truth. Because when you're cheap, nobody wants cheap. So my advice, don't do Groupons. You need to call us. Call Chad. We can help you.
Yeah.
And then on
Yeah, we're on the same page. Yep.
Another
following
question?
that, Dory, should they wait to open up the med spa before they begin marketing their med spa?
No. No, you should really start marketing before you even open. And you want to generate that buzz on social media, on your website coming soon. You want to get people
Yes.
engaged and having fun and anticipate the grand opening. So I would definitely try to market at least 30, 45 days before you actually open. I'm sure Chad has his opinion on that. I'll let him share here in just a second. But it's never too early to start marketing. Put it this way.
Yeah, Dori, I agree with you again, 100% on that. It's get it out there, start teasing it, right? Let people know what's coming, and start building up that anticipation. So yeah, don't hesitate, don't wait.
Yeah,
Do it in advance.
for sure.
I agree.
Very
We're on the same
important.
page. So that's why we work together so well, Dori. We're on the same page
I
with all these things.
know. Well, that's why we're doing this together. We have the same philosophies.
We do.
All right. So, those of you who joined us on social media, thank you so much for being with us. Leave some comments. If you're on YouTube, leave us some comments, like, subscribe to our channel. Our goal is to grow our YouTube channel in a major way. So, all your help there would definitely be appreciated. Chad, thank you so much for the wonderful offer you made for everybody. Can you repeat?
My pleasure.
I'm going to repeat the assessment email. That was sales@myadvice.com, right?
Correct.
So that's
Yes.
where you
And
need to
so
go. And if
free
you want to,
assessment and sign up this month, and you're going to get 1 month for free.
yeah,
So
1 month
great
for free.
savings.
Very nice. And then if you want to do those of you who want to do the success planning session, make sure you go to InSPArationManagement.com, fill out the form. It's right there on the home page. And we'll be more than happy to have the team here take great care of you and help you reach success again. So thank you so much, Chad, for being with us today. It was so much fun. We have to do it again.
Thank you. We will. Absolutely.
All right,
Thanks
you
to
guys.
you as well. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody. God bless. Have a great rest of December. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And let's have a great 2022. God bless. Bye.